Good evening, beautiful people. It's your boy, Shannon Coleman Sr. coming at you yet again. Today I was feeling kinda out of it, kinda depressed. Just thinking about my cousin, Sputnik, that passed away, and just kinda feeling sad today. Also thinking about my dad and my grandmother, my aunt, Gloria, my cousin, Pop, just missing them, thinking about them, kind of holding them there and there, thinking about my stepdad, Ivan, who passed away also, and Mia. You know, that cancer is really a devastating thing. Just thinking about my grandfather, my grandpa Coleman, he also had cancer, and just trying to figure out how to get myself back in shape and stop stress eating, stop eating because I'm depressed or, full of anxiety or stress, and trying to get myself right for this next season of my life. If you stuck around for the last minute and some change, I will ask that you check out the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Coleman to Coleman, and Spotify and Anchor. Just go on there, check out, type in Coleman to Coleman, and you should be able to, pull up the podcast and subscribe and like and share if that's something that you would want to do. And I also post just many clips on YouTube with the link to the podcast in the description. And I also post on my Instagram page and my Facebook page with, the link to the podcast and also, to the YouTube channel so that people can subscribe, like, and share if they enjoy the content. Now, if you don't enjoy the content, that's all fine and well. Just thank you for stopping in and listening. If you listened, I hope that everyone would listen to the end. It might be something in there that catches your eye, your ear, or your eye if it's a visual. Once we go back, to recording with, recording the podcast, video recording once we get all of our all of our equipment and our space back in order. Yesterday I was in my prayer closet, and I just started thinking about being in relationships, right? And how we stay in relationships when we know we should walk away. I mean, how many of us stay in relationships when we know that we should walk away? And as a matter of fact, how many of us get into a relationship knowing before the relationship started we should walk away? I know I've been there. I know people have been in relationships with me, and they probably thought, why did I even talk to this fool? Because he is driving me crazy. He is driving me up the wall, and I should have walked away. And I've been that person that stayed in a relationship, fought for a relationship, knowing that I should have walked away. So why do we do that? Why do we stay in relationships knowing that we should walk away? Well, is it love? Is it being naive? Is it being insecure? Is it just being wanting to be different than what you saw growing up? A lot of us come from broken homes, broken families, so we stay in relationships that we should walk out of because we don't know anything other than that. We watch daddy leave, we watch mommy leave, and then we, grow up and we say, well, we don't want to suffer that same pain So we stay in relationships that are unhealthy, and then our children see that with us, and then they stay in these unhealthy relationships. Sometimes we have to walk away. I'm a big proponent. I want relationships to last. I want relationships, to stand the test of time. But I also understand that sometimes you have to walk away, especially if you're not married. If you're just dating somebody, going out with somebody, and you notice some things about this person, it might be time to walk away. Sometimes people just don't change. They are who they are, and they're going to continue to show you who they are because you don't leave. If a person, peep game, if you cheat on a person and then that person stays, right? And then they say, I'll never do it again, I'll never do it again. And you say, okay, and you give them a chance. And then they turn around and cheat on you again, and you give them another chance. Then they turn around and they cheat on you again, and they continue cheating on you. How do you stay in that type of relationship? How do you stay in a relationship with someone that continues to hurt you and to continue to show you who they are? Sometimes you have to walk away. I know it's hard. I know you cry at night. I know you feel the pain, but why do you degrade yourself because you are afraid to be by yourself? That's why we stay in abusive relationships. That's why we stay in relationships with people that treat us like dirt, because we're afraid to be by ourselves. We saw mommy alone and she brought this dude in, she brought that dude in, she brought the other dude in, and we don't want to be that way. And then we saw daddy alone. He was with this chick, with that chick, this chick, that chick, and they never built a steady, sturdy foundation. So you've already started on shaky ground, right? Relationships are difficult. Relationships take work, but you should not stay in a relationship where you are being physically, mentally, and emotionally abused. Point blank, period. You ought to leave that relationship. Why would you stay in a relationship that's full of abuse, that's full of lies, that's full of cheating, that's full of, discomfort and distress? Why? Why stay there? Especially if you're not married. If you don't have no ties to this person, you don't have no kids, you're not married, and you're not none of that. All y'all doing is bumping and grinding, creeping and sleeping, then you ought to walk away from that relationship because you're not building anything. You're not building a steady foundation. You're not building a future. You're not building anything. It's nothing but lies, stress, and pain. Walk away. Learn how to love you. Learn how to love you. When you learn how to love you, you will not stay in a relationship with somebody that's abusing you and treating you like trash. I know a dude that asked a woman to marry them. This guy asked this woman to marry him, but he wasn't all the way stable in his life and in his career. The woman said yes, they would get married. But because this dude wasn't moving like she wanted him to move or as fast as she wanted him to move, she told this guy, I want to be single so that I can test what's out there in the world. He a fool sitting there crying, weeping, woo, 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 because he actually loved this young lady, right? I'm like, dude, walk away, leave. And then, I mean, although I was there before too, but I've learned that, yo, you can't give yourself to someone who doesn't want you. You can't sacrifice your sanity for somebody that don't love you, that don't care. All they're worried about is what they can get, how much they can get, and where they can get what they can get out of the relationships. I know a dude, I know females, I know brothers, I know sisters that will go through their man or their woman's phone to find out if they're cheating. If you have to go through your mate's phone because you suspect that they're cheating, you need to walk away. Not saying that they are cheating, but you might have some trust issues. And why should you beat that person down with your trust issues because you can't live a life of trust because you don't trust yourself? That's really what it is. When you don't trust yourself, you don't trust your mate. So you have to learn how to trust yourself. You have to learn how to love yourself. You have to learn how to, be honest with yourself before you get into these relationships with these people. Again, no one should have to deal with anyone that don't trust them, that don't show that they love them, that don't reciprocate love, but all they want to do is take from the relationship. I tell you again, walk away. Sometimes we convince ourselves that we don't see what we see, and that we don't hear what we hear, and that we don't feel what it is we really feel. We consciously make ourselves believe that we are lying to ourselves. How disturbing is that? You are constantly lying to yourself because you are afraid to be by yourself. So you stay in a relationship that's abusive. You stay in a relationship that's unhealthy, and then you end up getting pregnant, or you end up getting someone pregnant. Now you tie together to that person for life. Because what I believe and where I come from, if I impregnate you, then I got to take care of my responsibility, regardless of if you and I get along. That doesn't matter anymore, because now I have a baby and I got to take care of my child. And that's how we ought to see it. You had a chance to leave before that child came along, but you wanted to stay in a relationship that you know was not working. Y'all can't even stand to look at each other. Then you're going to put a baby in the middle of that. How selfish are you? Relationships have to be built on a solid ground. Relationships has to be built on love, respect, and loyalty. If you're not building on those three fundamental things, love, respect, and loyalty, and then you got to throw the faith in there and the spiritual aspect of it all to kind of season that thing up and make that thing work the way that it's supposed to work. If you don't have those 5 elements, then you do not need to stay in that relationship. People think they could build something when they don't have nothing to build on. What are you building on if you don't have nothing to build on? And the foundation starts with you. If you're an empty shell and then you meet another empty shell, you think you're going to build a relationship with that empty shell and have something that's going to work when both of you are empty. There's no foundation. You have to have a foundation. That foundation starts with you. That foundation starts with you loving yourself. That foundation starts with you respecting yourself. That foundation starts with you knowing yourself. You can't make them happy, and they can't make you happy if you're not already happy. Understand what I'm saying to you. You have to be happy first. You have to know how to love you first. You have to know how to appreciate you first. You have to know how to look in that mirror and say, you are a wonderful person. You are a beautiful person. You are a loving person. You have to know it. You have to receive it, and you have to live it. If you don't have those things, please don't jump in a relationship. Please don't have kids. 2 empty shells having kids does nothing but cause more trauma, pain, and distress in the community. I'll talk to you again. I love you with the love of God, and ain't nothing you could do about it, and you could do all things through Christ that gives you strength.